Today, fears of escalation between Israel and Yemen's Houthi rebels. The US Secret Service director resigns, and Emmanuel Macron delays naming a new French Prime Minister. From TLDR News, this is your daily briefing for Wednesday, the 24th of July, 2024. The UN envoy for Yemen has warned of a real danger of devastating region-wide escalation after an exchange of attacks between Yemen-based Houthi rebels and Israel. Back on Friday, a long-range drone, launched from Yemen by the Iran-backed Houthis, hit the centre of Tel Aviv, Israel, killing one person and wounding 4 others. The attack marked the first time that the Houthis had hit Tel Aviv, and the group claimed that they used a new drone capable of, quote, bypassing the enemy's interception systems. In response to the attack, Israel struck Yemen for the first time, with fighter jets bombing the Houthi-controlled Red Sea port of Hodeidah, which Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said was the entry point for weapons that are supplied by Iran. Local officials in Hodeidah said the Israeli strikes had killed 6 people and injured scores more. The tit-for-tat continued on Sunday, with Israel saying it shot down a missile launched from Yemen after the Houthi movement said it had fired several missiles at the southern Israeli port city of Eilat. For more than 9 months now, the Houthis have repeatedly attacked international maritime traffic in the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden, in what they say is a campaign of solidarity and protest against Israel's assault on Gaza. The group has also launched missiles and drones towards Israel, though Friday's attack was the first time those attacks have caused an Israeli casualty. An Israeli army spokesperson said the Houthis had targeted Israel about 200 times, though most were intercepted by US Central Command and some by Israel's own air defences. The drone attack on Tel Aviv on Friday marked the beginning of the 5th stage of escalation in support of Gaza, the Houthi movement's leader said on Sunday, signalling that the group will continue to target Israel directly. Previously, a Houthi spokesperson had said that they were prepared for a long war. Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, meanwhile, warned that the blood of Israeli citizens has a price, and that attacks against Israel will be met with an identical result to what had been seen in Lebanon and Gaza. In response to the recent attacks, UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres urged all parties to exercise utmost restraint to avoid regional escalation. There's more on the way, but remember to subscribe and ring the bell for more daily briefing tomorrow. Plus, if you want to support the channel like Chris, then consider joining the new TLDR membership program for just $1.99. The director of the US Secret Service, Kim Cheetle, has resigned over the attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump. Cheetle and the Secret Service were the subject of intense scrutiny on Monday during a congressional hearing, at which she described the shooting of Trump as the most significant operational failure at the Secret Service in decades. She drew the ire of lawmakers and faced calls to step down from Republicans and Democrats alike, as she refused to answer certain questions about the incident, saying she needed to wait until internal investigations had concluded. During her congressional hearing, Cheetle confirmed that the shooter, 20-year-old Thomas Crooks, had been identified as suspicious by law enforcement minutes before Trump took to the stage, but he was not necessarily deemed a threat, even though he was carrying a rifle rangefinder. Having initially said she would not resign, later in her resignation statement, Cheetle said that she had always put the needs of the agency first, and that she was resigning with a heavy heart, because she did not want the calls for her resignation to be a distraction from the great work the Secret Service does. French President Emmanuel Macron has postponed naming a new Prime Minister and forming a new government until after the Paris Olympics. Macron said in an interview on France 2 that, of course, we need to be concentrated on the Games until mid-August, and that from then it will be my responsibility to name a Prime Minister and entrust them with the task of forming a government, with the broadest backing possible. In the meantime, his centrist caretaker government, led by Prime Minister Gabriel Attal, will remain in post. Just hours before Macron's interview, the left-wing New Popular Front alliance, which won the most seats at the legislative elections in June, but fell significantly short of a majority, finally announced their proposed candidate for Prime Minister, after weeks of tense on and off negotiations. Their proposed candidate is little-known civil servant and director of financing at Paris City Hall, Lucie Caster, who has no background in party politics. Macron effectively rejected this proposal, reiterating his desire for parties in the National Assembly to come together to form a broad coalition. In any case, we won't know who will lead France's next government until next month at least. In climate news, the world has broken its record for the hottest day ever recorded for a second day in a row, according to preliminary data from the EU's Copernicus Climate Change Service. Sunday, the 21st of July, saw the global average surface air temperature reach 17.09 degrees Celsius, a new record that was quickly beaten on Monday, the 22nd of July, when the global average temperature rose to 17.15 degrees Celsius. Copernicus's analysis suggests that it was above average temperatures over large parts of Antarctica, currently in its winter, that helped push the global average into new territory. On top of this, parts of the world that are in summer are also dealing with sweltering temperatures, including parts of the United States, Europe, and the Persian Gulf. The director of the Copernicus Climate Change Service said, "What's truly staggering is how large the difference is between the temperature of the last 13 months and the previous temperature records. We're now in truly uncharted territory, and as the climate keeps warming, we're bound to see new records being broken in future months and years." Scientists say that 2024 could end up being the hottest year on record, beating 2023. The burning of fossil fuels continues to push up global temperatures and contribute to climate change, exacerbated in the last year by the natural El Niño weather phenomenon, which ended in April. In our final uplifting story today, we feature the adventures of 36-year-old Ben Kilner, who's preparing to travel the width of Scotland on a handmade bicycle canoe. Kilner spent 2 months building the contraption, which is made from Douglas fir and steam-bent green oak, with a single bicycle wheel at the front and 2 retractable wheels towards the back. It's called the Pedal Paddle, and will take him across 150 miles of land and sea, a trip that's expected to take around 9 days to complete. Starting in Fort William, Kilner will paddle to Inverness along the Caledonian Canal, before turning around and cycling back on land along the Great Glen Way. He's also doing it for the children's prosthetic limbs charity A Leg to Stand On, an idea which came to him after he was left unable to walk for several days following a camping trip. If you want to learn more, then check out our physical magazine, Too Long. We've been working on this for a while now, but it's about to be printed and shipped. So here's everything you need to know. Too Long is 60 pages of our very best journalism, diving deeper into issues than we can on YouTube. As you can see from the front cover, this issue is focused on the UK general election, explaining what Labour want to do with their new huge majority, what each of the other parties are going to do next, and much more. It's more than just the UK though, with major stories from across Europe and the world, including the US election, the countries who could join the EU, the war in Gaza, and the European elections. We're really proud of how this product has turned out, and we think it's some of our best writing yet, able to dive into topics in a way that the algorithm just wouldn't allow. It's also a great way to support the channel, with the cost of production only increasing as we expand and advertising markets getting less stable. Your support helps us improve the business, improve our journalism, and helps us make more free YouTube content for everyone. If you're interested, you can go to toolong.news to buy a copy. There you'll find both standard and premium editions of the magazine, with the premium edition getting your name printed in the thank you section and getting you access to our behind the scenes podcast, The Bullpen. Premium editions will only be available until Thursday at 11 AM, when the print run begins, so you don't have long. You can also subscribe to Too Long, which gets you 25% off the price and a copy sent straight to you every 4 months. Subscribing really helps us turn this into a reliable revenue stream, which is super helpful when it comes to growing our business. Plus, if physical isn't your thing, then there's also digital versions. Anyway, sales close soon, so head to toolong.news to order now, and make sure to use code FINALORDERS to get an extra £2 off your purchase. Thanks for watching and for supporting TLDR.